Hey, it's Valerie here. How are you going this afternoon? I wanted to bring to you a very important insight that is the freedom that sets us free. Last night at our dinner table, my kids were talking about the Matrix. I don't know why, something to do with blue pill, red pill. And the conversation was, which would you prefer, take the blue pill or take the red pill? And 75% of the family, the truth principled side of the family, said we would definitely take the truth pill. We would rather know the truth than to be stuck in a circle of lies. And 25% of our family decided that they would actually take the non-truth pill because they would rather have a life where it was comfortable and consistent and let somebody else deal with the reality. And for me, that's a lot like the self-care vent cycle. The self-care vent cycle when we're feeling tired is that we do a lot of expressive speaking of our distress, and we talk about it, and it's often not contained. And there's some evidence to suggest that when we are actually venting, when we are just letting it rip, saying what we think and letting our distress go, that it's actually counterproductive, because what we're doing is we're letting loose a bunch of emotions without containment or resolution. And when we don't provide containment and resolution and come back to base, it actually depletes our sense of mastery, of hope, of problem solving, of coping, and it actually reduces resilience. And so there's this cycle then that goes, the more that we vent, the more that we let loose, we then rely on self-care to be the agent that contains that. And the thing about that, it's a little bit like taking whichever pill it is that is the non-truth pill. You take a pill that actually really doesn't set you free. It just restores you to a sense of temporary relief. One of the joys that I've observed of doing this work for the last 5 years is the change that I've seen people go through. I've done a stress management and resiliency group for the last 3 years, and with coaching clients, when we actually start to ask ourselves from the perspective of a resourcing model. The resourcing model goes like this. Which part of my resourcing tank is depleting or getting close to empty? And then what is the one thing I need to do now to actually resource that tank? And I observed that in 2 situations today with my work. One was in a stress management and resiliency group, where when I first started, the main light bulb for people was rest, the idea of rest, which falls in the replenishing, recharging care section, right? And that was like the profound shift for people. I've got to rest. Fast forward to about 3 years of doing this group work and lecturing in the area and things like that. Today, the take-home messages were much more profound. After finishing 6 group sessions, it was about mindset. It was about awareness. It was about incremental shifts in the moment and being able to assess and know. See, the whole thing about the vent self-care model is that it's like being in a car and you keep filling up the fuel in your tank, but there's an actual hole somewhere. And so you will go a little bit because you've got just about enough fuel to get you to the next point, but it's not going to be sustainable, because if you don't figure out where the holes are, then you're just continuously going to be in that cycle. And it's actually far more exhausting. When we actually look at what happens in the vent cycle, it actually depletes our resources far more. I guess it's a little bit like me being in my car, I don't know, going into a high gear and just burning out on the gear, not going anywhere. The resourcing model, on the other hand, knows the 6 different dimensions of where you can actually have a leak. It knows the 3 tanks you have to keep your eye on, and you immediately ask yourself the question, where is the leak? What is the resource that is required? And what do I know of my arsenal of replenish and recharge material that will get me to the next point? With my coaching client today, They were able to identify that there were some leaks. And as I heard them speaking, in my head, I kind of had an idea of where the resources were required. But coaching is a process. And so you want to be able to sit in the journey with the person that you're with. And within minutes, this person had voxed me and messaged me to say that they had figured out what they needed, what that one thing was needed, and they made it happen. And lo and behold, within an hour came another Voxer message that actually had the solution, the actual thing that they needed to do. And they said, I've identified it. I know what it is that I need to do now. Was it a self-care thing? No, it wasn't. It wasn't a self-care thing at all. It was an immediate solution to a problem that they could see that's where they needed to go. So be aware that the vent self-care movement is just like being in a car with a hole that you just keep putting the fuel. It'll work for a little while. You've got to know where the leaks are. You've got to know where you've got to fill up. A resourcing model, 3 tanks: energy, confidence, connection. And the 6 different resources that you need. They're my 6 R's. You can look that up. My burnout prevention plan, 6 R's. It's a little ebook on most sites. They're the things that you need to be keeping your eye on. All right. Have a great day.